Happy holidays, everybody. It is Christmas Eve. We are here to talk about some crypto happenings in this festive time. And I'm sure, because obviously a lot of the videos recently have been more XRP centered in terms of the content, I'm sure a lot of you watching are probably not doing that well, right? Or like mentally, you're probably a little bit in a rut, or questioning yourself and really doubting yourself. But really, guys, and at the end of the day, nothing changes. This lawsuit doesn't change a thing, even if worst case scenario XRP is deemed a security, which it won't be. But if it was, it's still going to be used, right? Regardless of whether or not Ripple is around to handle anything, XRP is still the best cryptocurrency out there in terms of payments, speeds, everything. Compared to Ethereum and Bitcoin. And that's why we've probably seen a lot of the backlash out by, the Bitcoin maxis have always backlashed. So they're just looking for an opportunity here to kick us while we're down. That's fine. That's fine, because we're XRP holders. We've been kicked down before. We've been through this, right? Now, I got in at arguably the best time, but the worst time for a lot of people to get into crypto, because obviously I got in right before COVID, right? So right before the crash and everything else that happened. So I got the benefit of buying XRP down at cheap prices. Now, the problem there is at the time my allocation was way different than what it is now. At this point in time, I'm pretty sure, okay, so XRP is still the majority of my portfolio. So yes, my portfolio has shrunk a considerable amount. That's no doubt in my mind. But before, when I was first getting into crypto, it was BTC, Ethereum, and a little bit of XRP, just dashing it in. So I'm buying XRP at 18 cents, not knowing what I was buying, right? I didn't have as much knowledge as I have now. And now that I have this knowledge, I have zero doubt. I've always had zero doubt once I found out exactly what I'm investing in. And that's, I think, should be your investment strategy. At the end of the day, it has always been shown that the people that hold often make the best returns. Now, I will say that being in crypto alone is a risky investment. And being into a cryptocurrency that is currently in the middle of a lawsuit or at the start of a lawsuit with the SEC is even more risky. But at the end of the day, those risks will result in higher gains. It's like holding a beach ball underwater. You can only do it for so long before it goes up. And I firmly believe that that's what's going to happen with XRP. And I'll explain why in this video. But I really would take a look at yourself. If you are in heavy doubt, you should reevaluate your investment and see, okay, is this something that I should be invested in? Is XRP legitimate? Like, is it going to go somewhere? Is it going to provide the value, the internet of value that we've thought it's going to provide? So a couple of things about the crypto market. So we'll just get that over the way. Bitcoin's looking really volatile over the last 7 days, and some of that could be posed with the current climate of what's going on. Obviously, Trump had blocked the stimulus package, which is bad for all markets, so neither here nor there. But obviously, back to the drawing board for the stimulus. Hopefully, they can come back with a stimulus bill that is able to get passed. But unfortunately, the longer that stimulus is held off is the more damning to stock markets and traditional finance markets. So obviously, it could be bad for Bitcoin. It could really hold it down for a little bit. But at the same time, with Bitcoin, I see that too. I see if we do see a major stock market crash, I see a lot of things like gold and Bitcoin increasing in value, even if in the short term they're drugged down by the crash. And that would essentially be the great decoupling, where people are no longer feeling safe in putting their money in tech stocks, where now they actually want to go out and put their money into gold and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but probably not XRP. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at XRP. Down to 26 cents. We are down a whopping tons of a percent. Actually, let's take a look at the 7 days. So we're down 53% on the 7 day, down a whole 20% on the last little while. We'll switch over to TradingView here and get a better look. So obviously we got our news, we held steady, we maybe did a little bit of a bounce, and then it was straight capitulation all the way down here. And it looks like we have some support here. We had some support a little bit maintaining at about the 30-cent mark, but obviously we broke through that. So now we're just testing the 26-cent mark. Now, in terms of my DCA, we are just over my DCA. So technically, I'm still in profit. Does that freak me out? That we are, because my DCA as of now, because I bought more, so my DCA went up because my DCA has been lower. But obviously, I bought the dip, just like any other time. I bought the dip, so it doesn't matter what the news is. I know exactly what I'm investing in, and I know how this court case is going to go, just by the legality of what they're requesting. Now, I did read the entire. Well, okay, I shouldn't say the entire document. But I skimmed through after like page 30. A lot of it goes under the assumption that XRP is a security. So at the end of the day, I don't see this holding much weight in court once it's deemed in court not a security. And I have great hopes that that's what it's going to come to. So let's talk about my plan, because obviously prices are scary. Everything's a little terrifying right now. So let's quickly take a look at some tweets. So I usually handle with Nexo and Celsius, typically for a good portion of my XRP that is off my ledger. So Nexo tweeted out, and this is a response tweet, but it's a copy and paste tweet. They're tweeting it out to any customer, but if for whatever reason they're not making a standalone tweet. So they say, like everyone in the industry, we're currently evaluating the SEC versus Ripple situation. Upon legal counsel, we have temporarily put repayments in XRP on hold. Please note that withdrawals remain unaffected. You can withdraw your XRP at any time. Thank you for your understanding. So a couple of things about this, and you see this comment down below, and I'm going to address this first. So first, Mike Manfield, just some guy on Twitter, just mentions out that I would hope that because Nexo's not a U.S. company, that they would fight back and fight for Ripple. And he's kind of saying that he's not going to use them any further because they weren't willing to support Ripple. Now, let me just be clear. I'm not going to target any businesses that right now are delisting, because right now what's happening is a lot of the smaller exchanges are delisting. A lot of the big players haven't really done too much. They maybe looked into what they need to do, but they haven't done too much. We have clarity that they can hold securities for upwards of 5 years. So there is that if it is deemed a security. But obviously with smaller organizations and organizations that may not necessarily have the capital to have the SEC look into them and possibly get enveloped into a legal battle, it is their best move in terms of mitigating their losses in the market to delist. So do I see this as a personal, like, am I not going to use Nexo after this? No, I'll definitely still use Nexo in the future, 100%. And moving on to my second one, so we see Tel Bentov, and I'm sorry, I butchered her last name, but she's basically the loan director for Celsius Networks, basically making a call out to anyone that has a loan with Celsius that used XRP as collateral. At this point, it's time to add more XRP to that collateral or risk getting liquidated, and obviously you don't want to get liquidated, so I would go ahead and make sure that you have liquidity in there. I don't use XRP as collateral. The only thing I've ever used as collateral is Bitcoin. So that is that. I probably would never use XRP as a collateral, but that's more, XRP is my retirement essentially. This is my long game in a world of short games, right? So, okay. This is where, and I talked about this the last episode, and I'm going to bring up my ledger. This is what I mentioned the last episode of, I was a little bit scared. And now the Celsius margin calling, that doesn't scare me at all. What does scare me is numerous exchanges delisting and stopping rewards. For me, the whole reason that my XRP was even off of cold storage in the first place was I'm gaining interest. Other than that, if my XRP is not growing somewhere, I would rather be in custody of it by myself. I would rather hold it and make sure that it's safe, locked down, in multiple different ledgers, whatever it is. I have multiple ledgers in multiple different places. Obviously, I have like my parents' home and other homes to stash ledgers in. So it's nice to keep everything spread out. But ultimately, that was my decision in why I took those off those exchanges. So I have officially moved every bit of my XRP and XRP alone off of any exchange, any wallet that I don't have full control of. So anything that's not like a mobile wallet that you control, or obviously a ledger or any sort of other cold storage of any kind. But I personally, out of my like feelings, I felt more secure pulling my XRP onto a ledger for a couple of reasons, but mainly in terms of like, I don't know what the U.S. government's going to try. Obviously, Jay Clayton's trying some stuff, but I just would rather not risk it. It's much safer just in my hands. I truly at this point believe it. And once we have the regulations, at that point, I will go ahead and redeploy my XRP to a number of different services, maybe even shop around. And by then, I'll probably give some reviews out on the services that I use for my XRP. But right now, my XRP is exclusively on cold storage. Okay, so quickly, we're gonna go through a video here. I'm just gonna rewind it. We're gonna listen to some stuff that Jay Clayton has to say. This was a couple of years back, and he mentions about what securities are and what cryptocurrencies are. So we're gonna go ahead and watch this.
So there's a lot in that area. Let me start with the technology, distributed ledger technology. Incredible promise. It can drive efficiencies not only in the financial markets, but in a lot of markets. Fine. Two areas in the financial markets where distributed ledger technology has come to the fore. Cryptocurrencies. These are replacements for sovereign currencies, replace the dollar, the yen, the euro with Bitcoin. That type of currency is not a security. Let me turn to what's a security. A token, a digital asset where I give you my money and you go off and make a venture. You have some company you want to start or something you want, and in return for me giving you my money, you say, you know what, I'm going to give you a return. Or you can get a return in the secondary market by selling your token to somebody. That is a security, and we regulate that. We regulate the offering of that security, and we regulate the trading of that security. And that's our job, and we've been doing it for a long time.
So you're saying, the classic definition of a security, you invest in a common enterprise with an expectation of profit. You're saying the way you look at most ICOs, they are securities.
Correct.
Are you planning now to make a clear statement on that? Because there seems to be a lot of confusion about whether anybody is going to get approved or not.
Bob, I hope I just did. If it's a security, we're regulating it. And let me just, we've been doing this for a long time, and we've built a $19 trillion economy, a securities market that's the envy of the world, following these rules. If you have an ICO or a stock, and you want to sell it in a private placement, follow the private placement rules. There's no secondary trading. You know, you have to do that. If you want to do an IPO with a token, come see us. File financial statements, file disclosure, take the responsibility our laws require, and we're happy to help you do that public offering.
You seem to be saying that the SEC is not going to be changing the definition of a security just to suit the ICO community, is that right?
I'm certainly not going to support that.
Okay, let me move on. What about altcoins? We have discussed Bitcoin, but there are other altcoins out there. There is Ether, for example. There is Ripple. Is Ether a security?
So Bob, I'm not going to comment on specific crypto assets and whether they are a security or are not a security, but you captured the definition very well. Now, am I giving you my money for you to go off in a venture, where I'm relying on your efforts and the efforts of your colleagues?
But you understand, there are lawsuits, I'm sure you know, right now, for example, over Ripple, about whether it is or is not actually a security. That's partly one of the issues here, and obviously how the SEC feels is very important.
No, we are not going to do any violence to the traditional definition of a security, which has worked well for a long time, and I believe will continue to work well.
Is it possible the SEC might say these were securities at one time and no longer are because they're not centrally controlled, for example?
Look, that's a question that is out there, and will be answered in the specific facts and circumstances. But we've been doing this a long time, and there's no need to change our fundamental approach.
Let me move on. Bitcoin ETFs. A lot of people chomping out the bit.
Okay, so the ETF part isn't as important as what we want to talk about. So two big things that Jay had mentioned here. Number one, he mentions that when you're so what he's classifying as a security, as an ICO, is if you're investing money, you're expecting one of two things. One, you're expecting a return, some sort of payment in return for holding that asset. So possibly like a dividend in terms of like stocks. So when you hold certain stocks, they'll pay you out every quarter or annually, depending on their dividend release schedule. And there are some tokens that do that. So some notably is a Nexos token that does pay you a dividend. Nexos token probably to me seems more like what a security is rather than what XRP is. Now, in terms of that, to combat that definition, we are not investing in XRP because of what Ripple's doing. I personally am investing into XRP because it's the fastest, it's the quickest, and it's the cheapest. It just blows every other cryptocurrency out of the water, and especially in terms of global remittances and payments. Now, coincidentally, Ripple is building that technology on top of XRP, on top of that framework. So obviously, I'm investing in a cryptocurrency, a currency that a company is currently using for their benefit, right? Now, they sell stocks, they sell shares of Ripple, and then there's XRP that they are building on top of. Ripple themselves did not create XRP. The founders of XRP created Ripple. That is true, but they're not the same thing. They're completely different things. If you think more of XRP as a commodity or a currency instead of a security, so it's not representative of how Ripple is doing. Because at the bottom of the line, if Ripple is gone today, then that's it. XRP is still around, right? Somebody else can come around and build on top of XRP. Does that mean XRP becomes a security for that company? No, that's ridiculous. If a company right now starts building off of Ethereum and they start being a global leader building off of Ethereum, does Ethereum then become a security? No, it clearly doesn't. Now, Jay's specific wording here was a little bit ambiguous, and I noticed that, and I noticed that the interviewer here kind of fought back by giving him the actual first part definition, because obviously the Howey test comes in multiple different parts. I think 4 different parts that make a security a security. But he mentions, so Jay Clayton specifically mentions, you are purchasing it for a dividend or to resell it due to that company's efforts, right? And I'm sure there are people buying XRP because they think that Ripple is going to increase the ecosystem. So they're possibly making a bet on Ripple by buying XRP. And I understand that bet, and that does factor into why I buy XRP, but that doesn't mean I'm buying into XRP thinking that I'm buying into Ripple. I'm buying into the ecosystem, the cryptocurrency itself. I want to buy into that framework, what that cryptocurrency is and the technology behind it. I'm holding this digital asset. I'm not holding stocks of Ripple. And I think a lot of people understand that. Jay Clayton's purposefully ambiguous with this and doesn't really mention exactly the true definition of a security. Now, I think what he says here is kind of telling in terms of they're not going to be violent against the current definition of securities, and we've seen that with the Kik lawsuit when the SEC went out against Kik for their KIN token. At that point, they had deemed the KIN token a security when they initiated the lawsuit, but obviously it ended in them receiving clarity and now being one of the 3 cryptocurrencies that have regulatory clarity in the United States. So in all honesty, what do you think is about to happen? Because under every definition that we know in terms of the Howey test and how the SEC defines a security, Ripple is most definitely not a security. Okay. Let's meet some of our legal team here, because we all need to be aware of this. It's good as investors to be aware of everything, and if by the end of you researching and doing everything, if you feel that you need to step out and you need to mitigate your risk out of the market, by all means. Nobody else should be able to tell you to do this. Nobody in YouTube comments, nobody on Twitter, nobody in Reddit. Don't listen to anybody. As long as you've done your research and you believe in it, keep investing. And I truly believe in my research. I'm just here presenting what I know and kind of giving you my perspective. In no way is this financial advice telling you to hold, but I'm holding. So you do you, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm holding. So Michael K. Kellogg and Associates is actually representing Ripple in this lawsuit as part of their outside counsel. Now, I'm sure a bunch of the Ripple legal team is also a part of the team, so I don't doubt that. But Michael K. Kellogg is, our superstar, our QB of the team. It comes in with a lot of previous experience with the Supreme Court. He clerked for the Supreme Court. And then also litigated a numerous amounts of cases in the Supreme Court, going through regulatory issues or whatever it is. So definitely has some experience in front of the Supreme Court and also in this area of concern. Notable representations: he's represented American Express. He's represented Bell Atlantic, and then he's represented Lexicon. So definitely has a lot of big names under his belt. He comes well versed in what he knows. So by all means, I think Ripple has a good team. I'm really happy that they're also getting outside counsel, especially for a suit that is this big. I would take no chances with something like this. And it's pretty telling, I would say, because at the end of the day, and I know like everything that I've talked about is really like just like based on the facts, right? What's coming out and everything. But let me just put my conspiracy hat on a little bit tighter here, right? I'm wearing tinfoil under this. This is not, I don't know. Something seems weird. Something seems fishy to this whole thing. The timing, Jay Clayton is now out. He's already resigned. His resignation was already in play. We knew about his resignation a while ago. I think I even made a video about his resignation specifically. So the fact that he's doing this right before, and he mentions even in this video that they've been watching this since 2018, why wouldn't you make any moves against Ripple? It all just seems so convenient. The timing just seems so right. So no, I refuse to get shooken out. And if that means that I'm wrong and I'm so bullheaded, then fine, let it be. I've already come to peace with it. I will lose what I've invested in XRP. If that is the case, if I'm truly wrong, which I at this point, call me bullheaded, but I am not wrong. Short term in terms of the charts, sure, I'm a bear. I'm definitely a bear. But at the same time, in terms of the long term, I am not a bear. Obviously, I'm a long-term bull. So in the email statement, outside counsel, Michael Kellogg and his associates, so they mentioned this complaint is wrong as a matter of the law. Other branches of the U.S. government, including the Justice Department and the Treasury Department's FinCEN, have already determined that XRP is a currency. Transactions in XRP thus fall outside the scope of federal security laws. This is not the first time that the SEC has tried to go beyond its statutory authority. The courts have corrected it before and will do so again. Yeah, I get the fear. I really, really, really do. And you're seeing everyone on Twitter and replying to your comments. You're probably saying hodl and everything else, or I just bought the dip, and people are saying, oh, you're just trying to catch a falling knife. And I get the fact that if you have deemed this as too risky for you, definitely don't invest in it. At this point, don't. Now, in terms of my investments, since XRP took its meteoric rise to 72 cents and all the way up to 90 cents on Coinbase, I think it was, and then back down, I committed to significantly lowering the amount of XRP I buy. Obviously because of the higher price. I know it's still a good cheap price for XRP, but at that point I wanted to diversify my portfolio. With this news, I've completely deviated from that and completely switched to the majority of my focus is XRP. Sure, what I'm doing could be called catching a falling knife. What I call this as is buying the frickin' dip and getting some of those goals that I wasn't able to get when I first got in. One other minor thing that is mentioned in this article, and I've mentioned it before in this video, in the last video. Garlinghouse's move Monday is reminiscent of how messaging platform Kik announced that the SEC would file suit against it for raising $1 million to build Kin. Kik later settled that case. So they took an ICO, a pre-ICO, so pre-launch ICO. They raised $100 million from that ICO, which we do know, and this is no shock to the ICO community and crypto community. If you're new to crypto, I'm not trying to be demeaning. So there's this thing that when an ICO comes out, there's typically tokenomics allocated. So how many tokens are in circulation? How are the tokens distributed? So are they printed immediately and just released out? Are they slow released out due to timing or mining or whatever way they reach it out? But often most projects allocate certain amount of tokens to things like the crypto environment, their developers, individual rewards, or directly to the team. So it's very, very common for a part of the ICO to go to fund some sort of framework that is going to be built on top of that crypto. So that would deem everything as security if that was the definition. Obviously, that's not the definition. And obviously, that's not even what Ripple's doing. Ripple's not taking our money to fund their operations. Yes, they fund some operations by the sales of XRP, and I'm not trying to diminish it. They sell a lot of XRP. It's no question that they sell a lot of XRP, but they also put a lot of XRP back in escrow. They're basically managing how much liquidity is out in the system. But it's not, we aren't funding a project that we're aware of out of the intent to receive profit from that project gain or the company gain, right? We're not, if Ripple skyrockets in price, we don't make more money, right? If Ripple's share price suddenly goes up because people are investing in Ripple itself, we don't make money as XRP holders, right? If XRP goes up, Ripple shares probably go up, but it probably doesn't happen the same way the other way around. And that's mainly because XRP is a form of payment. It's a currency, not a security. It doesn't represent anything. It doesn't represent anything but an XRP token. So it certainly doesn't represent a share of Ripple stock. And I think the XRP has made that clear. And I think that'll be made clear in court. At the end of the day, you can listen to the FUD and you can sell your tokens, but I would advise against it. But I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't advise on shit. But that is that. Go ahead and like the video if you like the stuff that I brought to you today. What are you doing? Are you hodling, or are you selling? Are you giving in and getting out? Right? How dumb do you think I am? Am I catching a falling knife, or is this the right move? I personally think that this is the right move. I think this is just a massive shakeout. Just get everyone out, get all the weak hands out. But I have diamond hands, and I'm ready to ride this bitch to zero if that's what it comes to. So here I am with my diamond hands. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel because I'm really trying to let this channel grow. I'm probably going to come out with a video tomorrow, obviously being Christmas. So I want to end this video by saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves. Please, 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 the one thing that you should take from this whole thing, don't let this ruin your holidays. Everything's going to be okay if you just hodl, but don't let this price action ruin the time with your family. Please make sure that you're enjoying yourselves. And obviously there's a lot more issues in the world than just this XRP frivolous lawsuit. So just take this as an opportunity to buy in. But for now, go ahead and enjoy the time with your families and enjoy your holidays. See you guys. Bye.